Hey peeps, DJMK here, and welcome to another video. This is 100% uncut, um, mostly uncensored, at least as much as a Leo with the Sagittarius rising can, um, and just really just a much needed conversation today. So, gonna be no holds barred here. I'm gonna do my absolute best to be as honest as I can. I mean, this is real talk, so of course I'm going to be blunt, but no frills, no strings attached, just me talking to you as an average person. So, I'm here. So, how are you doing today? And I'll be honest, I mean, I'm doing good. I just woke up about an hour ago. I feel pretty good. Bit sore from working out, but I'm good. And completely terrified right now because I want to make sure my message is as clear as possible. And I admit, what I'm going to talk about today, it's not an easy thing. So it'll be really awesome, especially for those jumping in, to please contribute to the conversation either on Twitch or on YouTube, um, or even on my Twitter feed. Because I feel like it's really important that when you tell these stories and to show that this is a feeling that we're all going through. I mean, to kind of bring it back a little bit first, we're going to talk about a little bit about gaming, of course, because I am a gamer. So I'm going to put in some of that spin to it. But yeah, the EU passed a law, the GDPR law, a couple weeks ago, and that has resulted in a lot of games changing their terms to reflect that, and that's been happening all over the world, obviously, because we are an international market now. But as a result, a lot of games have had to be either shut down or deleted. A lot of networks because of this, and the communities that have been the most affected by these legal changes have been MMOs and visual novels. Like recently, a visual novel has been pulled from Steam because of just one scene in particular. Um, but it was kind of critical to the story and how it went down. So a lot of other websites have had to step in and take back up the reins and make that. And unfortunately, they had to make that section completely optional, or just take it out altogether with an extra, which is extra price if you wanted to add that back into the package. Those who already had the game are not affected, but for those who didn't, they're pretty much screwed over. And MMOs were significantly targeted because obviously they need your information, all that stuff, in order to get the game running. I mean, big companies like Blizzard, for example, they were not affected at all. But the more independent ones, they got hit the most. And in this case, it was this game that I was really excited to trying out called Mirage Arcane Warfare. That got shut down as of May 31st. I got the game for free as an offer via Discord. I did not have a Windows partition at the time, so I wasn't able to play it, but it looked really cool. It was basically like their first game. I forget it was I think it was called like I forget what it is, but it's kind of like a spin. It was like more like a medieval game, and it was like the very first one of the Arcane Warfare series, and it was much more dramatic, and that was the more popular title, so that one was not affected at all. But there wasn't enough resource, fortunately, to put it towards Mirage. So they only had enough resources for one game, and since one game was more popular, decided to put all their fuel with conforming the GDPR with that game, leaving Mirage Arcane Warfare in the dust. So it's like we had to announce, like, I'm sorry, but we have to shut it down. We don't have enough resources to put it towards this game, and it shut down as of May 31st. So you can't download the game from Steam anymore. You can't find it online anymore. It's just completely gone. And it's kind of a shame I wasn't able to download it before that all came to pass. And I know people have been making their own independent servers, like for Mario Kart, for example. People have made their own independent servers um, after Wii Channel 24 shut down and all those other things. And also, like, even because of the Wii Channel shut down earlier this month, um, a lot of games especially a lot of independent games have pretty much been fallen by the wayside because that was the only way you could play them. Even though the Wii U has had Wii partitions. So it's like, why couldn't they just keep it on just long enough that you could take advantage of all the previous stuff? But yeah, GDPR has been hitting a lot of indie gamers especially pretty hard, but it just feels like they don't really seem to care. They just really focus more on like the big industries. But I mean, it's kind of troubling. It's like a bare minimum if you're gonna change. If you're gonna change, I mean, I know like the reason why they ultimately made the law is for privacy purposes. I mean, but it feels like the EU in particular has had a pretty big target against the gaming community for quite a while. Like for example, the scheduling thing for Twitch, like that has been a problem because now like you want to like let people know when you're streaming, but then it's illegal across the pond. So what are you supposed to do? And then this happens, and a lot of games have been like for no problem except that one law, they've been shutting down all of a sudden because they just couldn't make the changes in time. So it's like, what is a creator supposed to do in this? And I'm just learning the GDPR. I mean, I've been seeing the GDPR notices popping up on my phone lately, and it feels like a mad dash just trying to make everything work out. Like a lot of my apps have been talking about the GDPR on here. But if there are any EU users out there, EU gamers or residents of the EU that would like to shed light on the subject, that would be brilliant because, I mean, let's face it, I'm an American. I don't know about international laws that much. I mean, I know international law pretty well, but just not to the extent of, like, working in the UN, that's for sure. So, anybody from the EU can shed light on that portion. Just please enter the conversation. But of course, that's not the big part of what we're really here to discuss. I mean, that was one big part of it. I really wanted to talk about that, but I mean, because I'm not part of the EU, nor have I done enough research on the GDPR, I feel like I don't have enough experience to shed light on that subject, but except it's been affecting a lot of indie game developers lately. So that's how much I can talk about that. But of course, the big thing that I'm going to talk about today is just this week has been rough, especially on East Coasters. Tuesday, Kate Spade passed away, and then yesterday, Anthony Bourdain passed away, and both had one common factor. So, I mean, I'm not going to go into anything graphic or anything, but just a little bit of a trigger warning. I've never had to do this in my videos before, but a bit of a trigger warning. If you have any ideations or any ideas about that, please don't wait until it gets bad. Please go and reach out to somebody, whether it's a family member, a friend, or any of the resources that I've listed. I've listed a number of them in the description of my YouTube video. I'm going to post it on my chat, on Twitch chat right now. Here we go. So there's all the resources that you can reach out to if you're experiencing any of these things. And I'll explain what each one of them are in a little bit. But before I begin with that, just a little bit of few words of each of these people. Because they've each have affected a portion of my life. So, Kate Spade. Big status symbol in the 1990s. I remember those pencil cases they used to sell back in the day. And it was like the very stylish status symbol. Everybody loves carrying them. And the story behind her brand is pretty amazing. Like, at the time, her boyfriend, then eventually husband, Andy Spade, kind of brought her the idea, like, why don't you start a bag line? And Kate Spade, like a time Kate Brosnahan, was like, really, you just can't start a bag line out of nowhere, but okay. And sure enough, she became a big hit. And then, I think it was around 2005, she sold it to Liz Claiborne, and then Nordstrom bought the rest of it from her. So she literally had nothing to do with the brand for decades, but that's what everybody associated with her. And then she tried to make a new brand called Frances Valentine, but that didn't take off as much, because she couldn't even use her own name to promote the brand. It was because even though it's her own name, she should be able to use it anywhere, but because she used it as an eponymous label in the fashion industry already, and she sold it off, she had no right to use it again, to promote her new fashion line. So, and it was almost the exact same style as her original designs too. But she has been an influence on me too, even though I'm the last person I would go for fashion like this. I spotted these in a shop, in one of these discount shops that, like, Keds did a collaboration with Kate Spade, and I was like, you know what? These shoes are mine. And the second paying job that I obtained, I got these shoes. I said this on Twitter on a tribute. I still have them. These are pretty narrow for my feet, but I still find some way to stretch them out sometimes. But I love them. I felt really proud to own these. And it was like, if I don't get it in the store, at some point I'm going to buy it online. But I'm glad that I bought it myself with my own money, my own hard-earned money, and I felt like I truly deserved having that kind of quality in my life. And then, just suddenly passing away like that, I mean, like, I didn't find out actually until Wednesday that happened, and I was in shock as soon as I found out the circumstances. And it just made me sad. Really, really sad. And then yesterday, yesterday was more timely that I found out. It was through a comment it was through those what's next sections, like those CAPTCHA sections about of like headline news and stuff on the bottom. Yeah, for Anthony Bourdain, it hit me a lot more because he pretty much was like the person I kind of wanted to be, an adventurer who happens to love food, because I am a big foodie. I am not denying it. I'm a big foodie and I love traveling. And Anthony Bourdain was one of the people that pretty much taught me that those two things can work together super duper well. And what especially impressed me about him was that he really supported the locals and original, authentic cooking and the culture that it stood for. Whether you watched him through No Reservations or the recent series he did, Parts Unknown, he is like one of those raw, no nonsense chefs and food lovers, and very much a movie nerd because he referenced movies at every turn. Like, I also love movies too, but like he referenced those things in every single turn, and how he started from the bottom and then he got up to this point of just trying to be honest. And I mean, he calls it the recent point of his career, but I mean, I think it was in him all along as well. He was a huge advocate for women's rights and immigrant rights, especially in the restaurant industry. Like, and he even said that if you deported every single immigrant in the U.S., the majority of the American restaurants would shut down because that's how we run. So give them better treatment. I mean, in fact, his big book, the first book, Kitchen Underground, actually details how they're that influential to the industry, and how there's a lot of mistreatment of immigrants, of women, and just many people in general in the culinary world. And he even said, like, before, like in a tweet in the past, or like some interview, after Ozzy Argento made the speech in Cannes, that if the culture I think it was Kitchen Confidential. It's actually Kitchen Confidential. That was what it was called. Kitchen Confidential. I bet if the culture in that book didn't exist, we probably wouldn't be having as many problems as we have now. And so, I mean, with that, with those two people, I've learned some passion for fashion and my passion for traveling and food, especially food. I appreciate my local places a lot more. In fact, I've been thinking of making a YouTube series called Small Wonder, because here in Delaware, we have a lot of locals that do really amazing food here. And most people don't really look upon Delaware as a thing. I mean, except with, like, Joe Biden and stuff, but we don't really seem to be known for anything. And it's kind of like, especially if you're traveling along 95, we're kind of a blink and you miss it kind of state. So I really want to make a series to kind of highlight what our state actually delivers. And we have a lot of locals, we have a lot of good food here, and we have a lot of nice people and services here. So that's why whenever I say on Twitter, please come to Delaware, we have tax-free shopping and stuff, what I really am saying is that we're more than just tax-free shopping. We are a community here. So whoever happens to jump by the East Coast someday, please don't hesitate to come to Delaware. We have tax-free shopping, and we also have good food and beaches. I mean, granted, we're not Virginia Beach. We're not Ocean City. We're not Cape May, but we have just as many good beaches. We have Rehoboth, the inspiration for Steven Universe and Bill Nye the Science Guy's favorite vacation spot. True fact, I asked him about it. But yeah, I'm gonna miss both of them on this earth. And this kind of brings into this most important topic. What do we do from here? The research has basically shown that now suicide has become the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. It's risen up 25%. And you don't have to be famous to be having this sort of problems. It's been pretty common everywhere, and it's just painful, really. And it's almost becoming as common as other chronic conditions, or even cancer or heart disease, as to, like, you know somebody who either has had these ideations or may have gone through something like this. And what makes it worse is the fact that what they're also discovering as well is if you there have been, like, research, like, done in, like, some various military units and stuff, that apparently if everybody gets too enlightened on the symptoms or the signs, then they'll try to find every single way to make sure none of those signs show, which is really troubling to me. It shocked me, and it really makes me sad. So then, what are we supposed to do? Well, we've got the hotlines over here. Wikipedia has a list of them for all around the world, as well as websites I've posted. The last one I've posted is Stephen Ministries, which is a Catholic organization. Samaritans and the Suicide Prevention Hotline are two big ones. Stephen Ministries, that's a Catholic organization, and it's not as well known internationally, but there are international branches, but it's mainly a U.S. organization, and it's a Catholic organization, where essentially anybody who's in a crisis, whether it's illness, grief, or mental health, you can call in, and these people are trained volunteers and trained professionals, and they will refer you to a professional when you need it at no additional cost, which is wonderful. So those are resources you could reach out to. Another thing is just check in with your friends. Like, Like, do something simple as, hey, how are you? And don't leave it at just the, I'm fine, thank you portion, because you don't want to dodge that. Just go ahead and say, like, really, how are you doing? Just let them talk about their life. Or if you don't feel like talking about it, somebody on Twitter actually gave a really clever idea, is to put your feelings in the scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10 if they don't feel like detailing anything. And for those who are going through that stress, I know it doesn't feel that way, especially when you're going through it at the time, but things can improve. Things can get better. Please don't wait until it gets bad. And I'm not leaving it just to people who have disabilities, chronic conditions, or even depression. I am telling this to every single beautiful unicorn out there. Please do not hesitate to reach out to somebody. Don't wait until it gets bad. And this is where I get to my story, which I'm getting very terrified, but you know what? I'm going to say it because I think it needs to be said that, like, even somebody who doesn't have a condition should definitely reach out and say something. You don't have to make an exception to yourself. If you're going through stress, if you're going through tough times, don't hesitate to reach out to somebody. I mean, thank goodness I never got to that super duper low point, but there have been times where I almost got there. I went through the most terrible losses of my life in 2015. For first one, I lost due to leukemia, and then the second one is something you never wish upon anybody. And I was surprised that I could even function in school. It was that terrible for me. In school, I could distract myself. I could distract myself enough that I could give a smile and show that I was all right, and I could pass off that I was happy and still the same student that I was, or like this radio show person. But when I got by myself, or when the recording portion went off, or when I wasn't on the microphone for my radio show or anything, when those things turned off, I was a wreck. I was really, really, really sad and grief-stricken. And well, I can easily say it now, because at least this one, it was a legitimate reason. Like, I had situational depression. I lost the two most important people in my life. One I kind of saw coming, because we had the time, like, if the worst should pass, here's what's going to go down. And the worst did happen at that point. But the second thing was entirely a shock. Entirely uncalled for. And it made local and even international headlines. It was that bad. And I mean, I have been known to go for periods of going AWOL on social media for a while. But 9 times out of 10 it was because either I was busy with school or busy with shows like this. But then when that happened, it kind of gave a third reason to go AWOL, is that I just didn't want anybody else to see my pain. And I was terrified of being judged for going through that pain. Because I would be considered the last person to go through that. I'm a pretty happy girl. I mean, I do get my stress sometimes. You sometimes see me, especially in the Lady's Choice story, where I do get a little bit angry, but in a comedic sense. But in terms of actual sadness and despair, I'd be the last person to consider that I would even go through that, and yet I did. I did go through that. And if it wasn't for my friends and my family insisting that I go get support, go get grief counseling, talk to somebody, I probably wouldn't be doing as well as I am right now. Like, that weight would have been way too much to bear by myself, and it would have taken me 10 times longer. 10 times longer to get through the pain compared to now. There's a reason why shows like Star Trek or even Star Wars, they never focus on one character. They delegate the load to all the other characters. It's because it's too big of an ask for a performer, let alone a story, to put the burden entirely on one person. That's why supporting characters are there. I mean, granted, you have stuff like The Revenant where it's mostly one character, but they have other characters to kind of help shake up the load a little bit, to give it more levity, give it more light. And I mean, I admit, those two things in 2015, I mean, they still affect me now. They still affect my feelings now at some points. Like, at some points, it does get painful. But then I remember all the things that I would have missed out on if I didn't keep going with it. How would I know how Infinity War ends? What would the next Star Wars bring? I mean, I know, granted, they haven't been good lately. I mean, always like, well, Infinity War's been good, but I mean, Star Wars has been questionable lately. But I mean, how would I know how Infinity War goes? How would I know how it ends? How would I know how would I know if Star Wars Episode 9 is good or not? What games would I play? There's so many that left unfinished. How would I finish those? And most importantly, my friends and my family. They wouldn't take it well. How would they feel if I didn't reach out when I did? So, I mean, I know people have been talking about gratitude lists like it's some common thing, but I mean, gratitude lists really do make a difference. If you just write down, on a good day, write down the things you're grateful for and the things you're looking forward to, both in the near future and in the distant future. Write down those things, especially the things you know for sure are going to happen. Like, for example, we've got Avatar in 2020. That's something to look forward to. Like further out in the future, kind of thing. I've got a trip. I got a vacation next week. That's another thing you look forward to. That's immediate future. I've got friends that I can count. I've got friends that I can count on, and fans that I can count on, and family that I can count on. That they come in and help me and make me feel a lot less lonely in the world. That's a piece of gratitude. Or even something as simple as, there's Frosted Flakes in the cupboard. That's something. That's something. The sun rose today. I woke up this morning. I can write. I can read. I can, my wheelchair battery's fully charged. I can go downstairs. Simple things like that. Or just, especially if you're kind of conditioned, it's I hurt less today. That's a start. It's not perfect, but it's a start. It's something. So, whenever you get to those bad days, you just look back on that list and see all the things you can look forward to. And I know, especially when you're going through a crisis, the last thing you want to do is go towards your belief system, whether you're agnostic, atheist, or in an organized religion, or an omnist, or just have your own belief system. But especially if you feel like your faith is falling apart or your spiritual health is falling apart, go on and take a first few steps back into whatever you want, whatever you practice, or whatever you think about. What ideas, what basic ideas do you follow? Be kind to other people. Pay your dues, or make sure you don't litter the backyard. Like, what small things do you follow? Because whether you're a theist or not, we all have a belief system that keeps us going here. So find out, like, what things do you feel, no matter how small or how big the list is, do you feel that makes you feel whole? That makes you feel like you've done something fulfilling in your life. Because especially that's one of the first things that tends to go. That's what I kind of realized in that 2015. It's like, that's the first thing that tends to go. Like, what basic code do you follow? It could be 4 things, like the Jedi Code. It could be 1 thing, like the Golden Rule. Or it could be an entire tome of things that you follow. Like, what do you believe in that helps you move? And and then if it got scrapped, just make a new one. To quote from Guinan, though, was kind of out of context, but it kind of is a good thing. If the Borg know everything he knows, it's time to throw that book away. It's the only way to beat it, and the only way to save them. Sometimes you gotta throw away those old rules, those old commitments, those old agreements that no longer work with you, and start a new one, start a new path, start a new book. It's terrifying, I know, but that new start can make all the difference. It really does. It really, really does. So, what else could I say? And just again, if the person's considering reaching out to help, I mean, it may be kind of a nerve-wracking thing for them because they've been going through it all by themselves for a long time. Don't hesitate to ask, can I come with you for moral support? Can I come with you to make it less scary for you? I don't have to come into the room just to help you get the first step in. Do you want me to help you? Are there errands you want me to help out with? Don't hesitate to ask, because they may be too scared to ask themselves. And it's because they know somebody that cares. Delegate. And I know people have been saying this several times, but it is really important to say that there are people who care for you. There are people who care about you. It's not an inconvenience. Well, if it's an inconvenience to somebody, number 1, number 2, it won't take like a few minutes or a few hours of your time. That's practically nothing. But you are not an inconvenience to somebody. If you need help, we're here for you. I'm here for you. In fact, here's my social media. My Twitter, my Discord, my YouTube. Contact me. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to hit me up on chat or on Twitter. Just anywhere. Please do not hesitate to contact me. I will respond as best I can. I might be there for a day. It might take me a few minutes. I've done that several times on Twitter, and I'm just really glad that people reached out. So please don't hesitate to talk. I will respond as fast as I can. I love you. Okay? I love you. I love you for being you. If nobody's ever said that to you before, I'm saying it now. Anybody on Twitch, go ahead and clip that. Anybody who just wants to hear it, just go ahead. I love you. In the most sincerest way. I love you. I want you to be happy. I want you to live the best life you can, whether it's traveling the world or staying at home by yourself or with somebody you care about. It doesn't have to be romantic either. Friends are just as good too, if not even more awesome. Whether you simply enjoy a small sniff of a flower in a garden or in a city. And even when you go through your darkest patch, know that we are right there with you, rooting you on, cheering you on to get through it. And there's no shame in it. Please don't ever be ashamed of your thoughts. It's one thing I've learned about in meditation is that there are going to be thoughts that crop up. Sometimes it's going to be the more fantastical portion, and sometimes it's the more painful or the more dark variety. Don't hold them back. It's unhealthy. Please let them come and go. I wish you all peace and love and happiness. That is all I wish for every single day, whether it's on a yoga mat or my meditation cushion or at church or wherever I am gonna be. So a little bit of an announcement. I'm going to grad school to become more well versed in interfaith interactions. So you might see why that I have all those things coming into mind. But wherever I am, know that I'm always rooting for you. Okay? So, there's one viewer on Twitch right now. There were like 3 at one point, but they kind of dropped off as soon as I got a little bit serious. But hey, this stuff is not for everybody. But the fact that that one viewer stayed behind, I thank you. I thank you very much for you staying until the very end. So, I'll take any questions or any comments or any encouraging advice or anything, whether it's GDPR, finding a new lease on life, just anything really. Don't worry, the gaming video is coming up later today. So I'll be streaming later on with more gaming videos. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, etc., please don't hesitate to reach out to me. There's some people I really need to call. Thinking about this now. I feel like a bad friend sometimes, but you know what? They understand that I'm busy sometimes, but I really need to reach out to people, regardless. But anyway, please don't hesitate to talk to people. I got a list of resources right there. You've got me. So, you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, advice, suggestions, etc.? Of course, you don't have to identify yourself. It's just formality here. You know, this actually went better than I expected. Because, I mean, I was terrified this was going to come out all wrong, but I feel pretty good now that I got the message through, that you're loved. Well, sending positive vibes your way. And whether you have questions now or questions later, my chat box is always open. Send them in the comments. Please don't hesitate to post. If you need a little bit of a pat on the back, I will give it to you. Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Again, here's my social media. My Twitter is where I use the most frequently. My Discord, I come on sometimes. And then YouTube, of course, I will comment whenever I can. I'll be at a couple of events, possibly. First is BlurredCon happening in July in Crystal City. And then secondly, Baltimore Comic Con, which is happening in September. And it's not bad, actually, for 3-day conventions. I mean, that's pretty cheap, actually. It's like $16 a day for BlurredCon and $21 for Baltimore Comic Con, especially with like some of the big guests they're having over there. So if you're going to be the East Coast, just please feel free to check out those two cons. Like BlurredCon in particular is going through its 5th year, and it's doing really, really well. Like before they started with like 1-day cons, now they're at 3, so that's pretty cool. I bet some of the people were organizing that at Comic Con last month. So 2 months ago. Wow. 2 months ago. But yeah, I'm gonna be in New York next week, so if you happen to like notice a different background, that's why. At that point. But I will still stream, and I'll still do stuff. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I know this is not an easy one to sit through, but this stuff needed to be said, and you need to know that you are supported. So, I'm gonna go watch Sejuke's channel right now. If anyone wants to join the raid, please go ahead and do that. I might do a raid. You know what? I'm not gonna raid, but, because I'm still pretty new at that. But please feel free to check out Sejuke's channel. He does, like, city builders and nostalgic gaming and stuff, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and, I will see you in the next one. On a lot happier note, with more Cinderella phenomenon, continuing on with our love interest, Rod. So, till next time, peace out, everybody. Bye! Oh yeah, by the way, the song link that I posted in my dashboard is a song by Coldplay called Everything's Not Lost. I'm not playing it, obviously, because I don't want to get copyright striked, and Twitch is going to censor it out, but here's a link to it. That song has gotten me through a number of tough times in the past, so hopefully it helps you as well. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. And I just realized that there's a typo on the I for this thing. Hold on, let me fix it, because it's going to make me feel weird. There we go. Okay, bye everybody.